GoPro, turn off. GoPro, turn off. Okay, so I got the bed platform pretty much set up. I'm just bolting it into the 80/20. I know this is sitting higher than the plywood, but I'm going to have a airflow mat on top of this so that air can get underneath the mattress, and that these will not be a factor for that. So this one's covering the batteries. It's just hard there. This is the back area. I haven't tightened this down yet because I need to get more washers for these holes. I'm not going to do all of these. I drilled them all, but I think I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 on each. Not sure yet. I have a piano hinge here, and then this will be a door that I can open up and access over here. So I decided to scrap the halfway box and just go all the way to the end. So fortunately I had a piece of 80/20 that was exactly the size I needed back there, so I just ran that across, and then I took one long sheet, ran it all the way. I mean, I could still partition it if I want. It's just one big board instead. So what I'm doing here is, these are pocket screws. They're going to go into here. These are mostly just for cinching this up. It's not really a weight support. I'm going to use the 80/20 and anchor it in that way. So I've already done the back. I only did one pocket hole screw there because it's so hard to get back in there. So I did one there and one on the other side. And so now I'm just gonna put this board in. So to get these in, I like to put the spring-loaded part in first, and then this part goes behind, and it'll drop down. So I use like something with a point on it, and then just kind of turn it like that, and it'll lock in place. And that's the advantage of using these for this cabinet here, is because no matter where you put them, they're going to sit. So even if you take the thing off and put it back on, it's going to sit there unless you get some kind of jarring to move it. And then to line it up, I just get it approximately where the hole is, and then I stick the whatever thing is through it, and then just align it up like that. Okay, I got the big box here, goes all the way up, and then it's accessible from the front by pulling that up. Starting a box here, I just got it attached up there. I still have to make I shortened this. It was 3/4 inch thick, but I think I'm going to go with 1/2 inch plywood for these covers, because there's no reason to go that big, and it's cheaper. So I took this off, sliced it down, put all this back on, and trimmed everything back to the right size again, so that it takes a 1/2 inch instead of 3/4. So, and it just gives a little extra space. So I'm going to do a 1/2 inch plywood on this. Okay, so I got these two doors on, so they just have a piano hinge. I'm going to have a latch like this in the middle. It's going to clip in there, but it just folds down. Another one over here. And if you don't know, with these piano hinges, so this is a piano hinge, they sell them up to like Home Depot sells them to 48 inches long. You're kind of limited in the store to what you buy. They sell 12s, they sell 30, and they sell 48s, but you can cut them. So just using a pair of snips, so you just cut, you want to line up with the where the hinge is, and then just cut to there on both ends. Do the same here. So you probably wouldn't want to do this on a real short one, because the rod will move. But anyway, once you get both ends of the butterfly cut, you just kind of bend it back and forth like that, and eventually the metal will give up. There you go. Now you have a shorter one. Okay, so I got the door latches in. These are they here. So it's a little latch I bought off Amazon. I'll put a link down below. It comes in a set of 2, and so it has this little tiny bracket here with adjustable slot screws, and I just went directly into the 80/20 with self-tapping screws. And then the measurement is from the bottom of this to right here. That's where you want your hole to be. So the hole is they say 38 millimeter, but I used 1.5 inch. That's pretty close. And then I used a little blade here to just kind of carve out the edge just a little bit. It didn't take much, just enough to get this flat piece in here. See that? Get this flat piece in here, and then this, basically it's just screws, 2 screws, and then this comes off, goes through with the latch towards the catch. Worked good. So this one is a little bit noisy. I think I might need to reposition it back a little bit. The other thing I could do is put some kind of rubber seal around there to give it a little bit of something to tap against. That might be good anyway, just to get rid of that vibration. So I still have another one to put in here, one to put in on this. I'm going to cut that door. I need more plywood. So one thing I discovered with this coin matting, this is the Home Depot Husky coin matting. You would assume that it's the same distance here to here as it is here to here, but it's not. So for example, this is 14 coins across. So if I measure from here to 14 this way, I get 1'7" and 3/16. And if I measure it across this way, I get 1.7 or 1'7" and 3/8. So that's 3/16 difference just in that size square. So what's going to happen if you use this on a large panel, and like on my doors right here, so on a large panel like that, and then this way, you could, if you cut it and got it turned, you would wind up not matching eventually down on the other end. So if you want it to match, just be aware that it's a different dimension this way than it is that way between these coins. Okay, so I laid the flooring down. I don't know why I did this to begin with. It was I just did like a big section. I cut it, and I cut it the wrong size, and I just laid it down anyway, and then I was going to come back and put in strips. But so basically I had to cut through a bunch of strips to fit inside these crevices. Probably what I should have done was just did the whole floor first and then do the cabinets, or then do the 80/20, then do the cabinets. Anyway, so I put these in. I got them glued down, and it's all being weighted right now while the glue dries. I found these at Lowe's, so they were about a 1/2 inch longer, and I just cut them down. But this will make a good cover for right here. It'll cover that the floor, and I'll also use it for the slider door entrance. It was pretty easy to cut with a metal blade. I cut this on the table saw. I ripped it. Not sure if that's the best idea, but it worked. And then I just had to file it all down to make sure that there's no sharp burrs on the corners there. Okay, so when you first get this coin matting, especially because they roll it up to give it to you when you buy it, it tends to want to stay like this. So I found the best way is to just set it out in the sun. So here on black pavement is probably the best. And just let it sit there for like just a couple minutes, I think, and it'll warm up and it'll flatten out. That'll be the easiest way to get it flat. You could probably use a heat gun too, but This is more uniform, and it's also easier to cut when it's warmer. So when I do my my boards, preparing them for being covered, I like to write which side I'm supposed to cover, because I've had it where you get it backwards and then it doesn't match up with what your plan was. So I just write on there in pencil what side to cover, and it also can help. So this one is kind of obvious because I got notches in here, but if I want it to go a certain direction, I'll put an up arrow on it too, or maybe just mark the very top of it. Okay, so this is about less than 5 minutes, and you can see it's already flattened out here and over there. I'm just gonna let it warm up just a little bit more, so it doesn't take a lot of time. Just put it out in the sun and you'll be able to work with it really easy. Okay, so I'm using this Roberts 7350. I got it from Home Depot, and I did need this full size to do the inside of there. And then I have a V-notch carpet adhesive trowel. Again, I bought it from Home Depot. Just has a really small little notch on there. And I just dip it in and then plop it on. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll lay this on the ground, and then just make sure that I got weight distributed over it so that it'll move flat. And then it takes about 24 hours to fully cure, so it's a slow process. So sometimes the glue doesn't hold down, especially around these bolts. So what I use is this Loctite Extreme Glue. Works really well. So what I'll do is I just put I kind of peel it back a little bit and then put a glob of it behind there. And I'll just clamp that. Piece of wood on the top just to make sure it's flush all across. Okay, so I think the garage area is pretty much done. We added some lights up here. The switch for it is down here, just a little tap. Lights come on. I have 2 more lights back here shining down inside there. These are dimmable. Not sure why I would do that, but they are. For the wiring here, I just went straight through the 80/20. I drilled a hole through there, and then I coated the wires with heat shrink just to protect them going through. So I got the wiring starting here, comes through, goes through here, comes out here, connects to this light, and then goes back, connects here, and then slips back using the 80/20 itself as a channel, kind of like a conduit almost. This 16 gauge wire will slip behind these T-nuts, so there's just enough room in there that it'll slide, and it's not really tight, so it's not going to damage anything. I put a little switch plate on the electrical back there. I had to slice it. I did that on a table saw. It worked okay. So for these slides, these are 48-inch slides, 550 pound, and they say it's a dynamic weight of 396. I'm not sure what that means. So this is, you need 3 sets of these short brackets and 1 set of these longer brackets. For the floor mount, you'll use the short brackets, and I'll show you on the other brackets, but you can't really see the back here, but this is using the top groove of these brackets. So they have a top groove, they have a bottom groove. So for the floor mounts, you're going to use the top bracket so that the bracket itself rises up high. Like I said, there's 4 of them. So 1 here, 1 there, 1 there, and 1 here. And that's on this immovable part. So on the sliding bracket, the part that slides, you're going to use the bottom row of these holes. So this is the top row I was talking about for these. But on here you're going to use the bottom row, because if you put it on the top, you won't clear these brackets, you'll hit them. And so we're using a large long bracket here, 28-inch, and a short bracket out front. Okay, so for the slide platform, I just have a 3/4 inch plywood, put the coin matting on top of it just to protect it, and then I have a U-channel aluminum, piece of aluminum that I cut to length and just slipped it right over the edge. So I bought these brackets a while ago because I needed to figure out how tall to make my bed in order to fit my electric bikes underneath. So I needed to know how tall this was going to sit above the floor so that I could get this minimum measurement from the top of this to here and make sure I had enough clearance in my bed. So for our bikes, the final assembly height, this is 3'1" across from here to here. It's 4'7" from front to back, and it's 2'7.5" from the top of the platform to the bottom of the metal. So we're putting in 2 electric e-bikes. The main purpose of the outlet up there is for charging them while we're on the road. So these are the e-bikes that we're going to be using. They're a folder, so it folds right here, and then the stem folds down. So we're going to see how well those fit. So here's both of the bikes in. The fit is pretty tight, but they fit. And then I'll go around the other side and show you how much space is in the back. And here's in the back. So there's still some room in there where we could put some more storage in here if we needed to. Okay, so once we decide which way we want it to go, we're going to put some kind of brace on here so that we can just kind of set them in. But right now they're just kind of standing there. So this is the other way. I think I like this way better. It actually gives us a little more room in the back. I think too I'm going to run 2 channels for the tires so that I can just kind of roll it in and it'll kind of keep it in place, and do that for each one of these. We pulled them out as far as we could go, and there's still plenty of room. We could pull them out even further a little bit if we wanted to. And then here's the space in the front, so about an elbow, arm's length. Pretty good. I think this is the way to go.